Hi everyone and welcome back to our Saving Christmas series. A series all about how I created my Saving Christmas game, where you can follow along and create it yourself using all the assets I provided for you in the link below in the description. We're approaching the end of our series now. So now we're currently doing the end, almost the end of our boss fight, the phase 3. And phase 3 is going to spawn icicles coming out the ground. Now before we do the icicle part, the way we're going to do this is going to first of all inform the player of where these icicles are going to spawn using a particle effect decal on the floor, which will grow a blue frost patch before an icicle pops out of the ground and attempts to hurt the player. So what we're going to do in here is I've already imported in my frost particle texture, which you can find in the asset folder, and I'm now going to create a particle system with that in mind. So I'm going to call this one frost patch, and let's actually put a suffix on it. So frost patch is going to be something special here, okay? So it's not going to be like a normal particle system. It's going to just spawn one particle on the floor. To do that, I need to set up a material. So I'm going to make new material. I'm going to go frost patch matte. Inside our frost patch matte, we're going to add a texture, and that's going to be our frost patch particle texture. It looks all white, but it really isn't. Looks like that, for example. And what we're going to do here is we're going to combine that with a particle color node. So these little nodes allow you to input particle information through your material. So this will come through the color node, and we can now combine that with a multiply to get a color for the patch. Okay, and we'll do this for opacity as well. So I'm going to change it from opaque to translucent, and the opacity for this is going to match the alpha channel of our texture sample. So I'm going to drag that over to my opacity. I'm just going to change to a square plane so I can see what it might look like. Okay, so I also want to apply that to our particle color as well. So I'm going to multiply that, and the B is going to be the alpha channel of our particle color. Hit apply, and then we can close that. Actually, let's give it a bit of an emissive as well. If I drag this down and multiply that by there, we'll give this an emissive of, let's say, 10. So it glows a little bit and stands out. Okay, so we can close that and go back to our particle system. I'm going to click on the required module. And in this module in the emitter, we can choose what material we want to spawn. So I'm going to choose my frost patch matte. Wait for the compiling of the shaders to be done. So then you'll be able to see it. Okay, so there's our particle being played through. Now I don't want it to be like this sort of flame effect at all. What I want it to do is spawn it on the ground. So I don't want to spawn loads of them, so you're going to change the spawn from 20 to 1, and I don't want it to move, so I'm going to get rid of velocity. I delete that, and I want to go and change its orientation to lock axis. I'm going to lock the axis in the Z, and they should now pop them on the floor like so. Okay, next we've got the initial size. So the initial size here is set to 25. Okay, that's fine, we can leave it as that. We then want to go into size by life. So size by life, and add that node. And at 0, we're going to leave it at a value of 1. And then at 1, we're going to make that a value of 4. So now it will grow 4 times the size than it originally was. Now, the actual tweaking of this will change based on what we do in the game. So if I just drag that out and see what it looks like in game, give me an idea of how big it actually is. So you can see it's quite small, in fact. So what I'm going to do in here is I'm just tell that size by life there to go from 1 to, let's say, 20. So massive. Save that. And there it goes. It starts spawning. Okay. Let's just drop that in. Raise up a little bit so we can actually see it. Okay. So is it growing? Next one to do is color. So color over life. Now I only want it to be one color. So I'm going to go and change it from a constant curve to a constant. And we'll choose an icy blue color. Okay. And there we have a color. So the alpha over life, 0 to 1, and 1 set to 0, so you get a fade out going on. I think that's fine to have that in there. I won't change that. So that's pretty good. If we want to make sure it takes longer, the lifetime of this we can increase here to say 2. And it will now take longer to grow. Okay. Now you can see it's spawning multiple ice patches on top of each other, which I don't want. So click back on required and scroll down, and you'll find emitted duration 1 second. Change that to 2, and now it will spawn 1. Oh, not 2. What did I go for? Yeah, 2. So let's change that then to 3. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. So now you can imagine that when this is finished, it will spawn a particle, a giant spike through the ground. So I only want it to do it once, I don't want it to loop. So in the midst of loops, we're going to change that to just 1. So do it once, and then poof, completed. Okay, completed. And when it is complete, that's when we tell it to shoot out a spike. Cool. You can see that in the world. If I drag another one in. Okay. So I'm just going to offset that a little bit because at the moment it's spawning just a bit too low for my liking because the floor is not flat. We're going to change that to be origin in the Z. We're going to increase that by 20. Let's see if that's enough. That looks fine. And that looks fine as well. Okay, so now we've got a particle system working. Next job is to create an actor for that spike. So let's go create a new actor for a blueprint class. This can be an icicle. So on an icicle, we're going to add a mesh. And the mesh is going to be an icicle mesh from our asset folder. There it is. And we're going to tell this thing to start underneath. Okay, so there. We're then going to add a particle system to this. Oh. Which is here. I'm going to choose our frost patch particle. So do that. Okay. So once it's done that, it's then going to spawn that spike up to the ground. Now it's a bit too small actually for my liking, so let's increase the scale of that to 2. And let's move that down a bit more. So it goes big frost, boof. Okay, so I'm going to move that down there. Let's round up to -300. Nice and easy. Okay, so the next trick then is to make it so it pops up after the particle system is finished. So I'm going to delete all this, and we're going to select my particle system and right click. Then choose add event and event dispatcher. and you'll find on particle on system finished. And what we're going to do there is we're just going to do a print string to see if this works just fine. Completed, and let's just drag one of these into the world. So hit play. So there's it going, and then hello. Okay, that's good, works. So we're then going to make it so it shoots out the ground. So to do that, we're going to do a quick timeline. Or could we just do a set location? I think we might be able to just do a set location. So if I drag my static mesh out and go set location, world location, the new location we can set to 0, 0, 0. And not world location, sorry. Set relative location. Set relative location 0, 0, 0. And that should reset it back to its start. So hit play. Maybe we do need to do a timeline to make it shoot down. So let's do a timeline to animate it going up. So add timeline and icicle spawn, and open this up. We have a new float. We call it position, and we have first point. It's going to be a time of 0 and value of -300. We're then going to add another point, and that's going to be a time of 0.3 and a value of 0. I'll change my length here to 0.3, make it fit. Compile and go to my event graph. That can now be plugged into there like so. A new location I can split, so I'm going to change the Z, position can go straight into the Z. Hit compile and let's test that out. It could be a bit quicker, I think. Let's make that a bit quicker. So let's change it to 0.1 and move this timer to 0.1. So it takes a 1/10 of a second for it to erupt out the ground. Okay, not bad. Okay. So what we can do then is we can now start work on phase 3, which is the spawning of these icicles around the map. So join us in the next episode where we accomplish that and get the phases connected together. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and this series so far. If you want to watch the next episodes right now, head over to patreon.com/RyanLaley, where a simple donation of just $1 will get access to those videos, plus many other videos as well. Big thank you to all my supporters so far. Wouldn't be doing this without you guys. Thank you once again. So that's it for me. So I'll see you next time. Bye bye.